Max will do absolutely anything required to win.
Right.
So in terms of the hard work, it's sort of limitless. He will do whatever it takes. You know, he's made that absolutely clear. Whether it's about learning or understanding or time focusing on himself and his mental state, like Max will do whatever it takes. It's limitless in that it doesn't matter what's asked of him. He will find a way and he will work towards making it happen. I think with Max, it's one of those things like all of us from 2016, you know, that first race with the team, I think it was so obvious that there was just like this raw, untamed talent in Max that was going to be incredible. Obviously, after that win, the rest of 2016, 2017, car failures and crashes and things like that. And I think what's made Max so great now is that he's mastered all those other little things. You know, like his awareness of what else is going on in a race, like his ability to sort of control a race. You know, the thing that you've seen in past champions is that it's not just about one bit of talent or speed or whatever. It's that they manage everything in the paddock so well, you know. And certainly in terms of like we've watched Max mature into this guy that just seems untouchable.
I can't imagine what it must be like actually to have your performance compared directly with someone like that. You know, whether you're Pierre Gasly, Alex Albon's been on this show. He's spoken about he basically said, you know, it became so difficult that I then had to drive the car harder. By driving the car harder, I make more mistakes. By making more mistakes, I feel more pressure, so I drive the car harder. Yeah. And I guess you've seen drivers just get themselves into their own headspace and a real muddle.
It becomes like a real vicious cycle. Like you said, you know, you overdrive the car, you're not going to go quicker. You know, you're probably going to go slower and you're going to make mistakes and then those mistakes put more scrutiny on you. And yeah, it's really tough. And I think, you know, Checo's vast experience, I think that he was probably the best person to try to keep up with Max.
Yeah.
In that I didn't think that, in the way that Max got into other people's heads, I didn't think it would affect Checo. I think it's taken a long time until it has. But yeah, Checo, again, I think he's very resilient. Yeah. And I appreciate that.
For people who, based on what they've seen, have an opinion of Max Verstappen that you wouldn't agree with, what would you like to tell those people that they might have wrong about Max?
I think that he's very intelligent. He's got an incredible ability to. If it almost feels as if he can drive the car automatically, he doesn't, of course. But he has so much. He can drive the car and has so much processing power left over that he can then think a lot about how he's driving the car, how he's looking after the tyres, what he might need to do on the settings, or if he's not sure, ask GP on the radio what he should be doing, but highlighting the problems. Reading the race, it still fascinates me. Fernando's another one that can do that seem to be able to read the race. But I haven't got all the stuff in front of them. How do they do that? I don't know. Some of that, I mean, I know you can see a lot on the Diamond Vision, and they do that. It's amazing how the drivers can see the Diamond Vision, look up and see.
So, you know, while they're driving a Grand Prix, they're looking at the big screens that are up for the fans in the grandstands.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then seeing the splits and the times and what's going on. I mean...
And is that common, or is that a rare skill?
I think it's rare, and it's only the very top guys that can do it. Yeah.
I remember David Coulthard actually saying to me the difference between him and Michael Schumacher when they were racing was what he called spare capacity.
Yeah.
He said when he was at his full tilt in a Formula One car, that took everything out of him. Whereas Michael, Sebastian Vettel, Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, the true greats, they have a bit left over, wouldn't you say?
They do. They have a huge amount left over. They have huge mental reserve left over. I won't name drivers, it would be unfair, but you can fairly easily see it if you watch a Formula One race and you know a bit about it. You can see the ones that haven't got much capacity left over. And they're the ones that typically also get in soils and accidents and tangles and so on and so forth, because they've just got nothing left. They can drive a car and they can do a qualifying lap, but be gobsmacked if any of those guys could win a championship.
You know who we all want to be? That person. The one who's meal prepping. They've got their organic grain bowls. They come in with their quinoa, all of that stuff. We know they're also getting a full 8 hours sleep, meditating before sunrise, never rowing with anyone, and just hitting it every time. But let's be real. Who has the time for that? Like me, you've probably got loads to juggle: kids, work, exercise, pretending that you've got everything together at the same time, and something has to give. And for me, traditionally, that was energy. And then I discovered Vitals by Heights. And these changed so much for me. Just 2 capsules, the job is done so fast. And then I know for the rest of the day, my irons, my B vitamins, my immune system's being looked after. I've got zinc for bone health, omega-3 and DHA for normal heart health. Honestly, the lot is packed into these golden little beauties. And as we see on the high performance show so often, high performers aren't perfect. They've just worked out the smart things that make a difference. So why don't you do right by your brain, your body, and your health? Head to heights.com/Jake or enter the code HP20 at checkout for 20% off your first order. What do you think of Max Verstappen's approach to racing?
I'm not going to answer that, Jake. I've been totally,
Have you?
I listen.
It's one of the interesting things about that world.
They're sound bites, and they were applied for an aspect of some of the things he does when he's on track. Yeah,
give us a more rounded.
Not so.
That's the nice thing. We can be nuanced here, right?
So my take on it was that when if you're racing someone and you want to stop them from passing you, you just simply cannon your car up the inside, even if the regs haven't been written clearly enough to say that you can do that. I don't think that is racing. It's simply taking a massive risk. But other people don't do it. If other people don't do it, then you're the outlier.
Yeah.
And running people clean off the track and just to stop someone from passing you is not racing. It's not racing. It's simply it's dodgems or whatever you want to call it. Banger racing. It's not Formula One. We want to see skill. We want to see skill and daring, and we want it to be surgically done, not bludgeon. You don't take a mallet to something. We want to see it done with a rapier. You want to see it cleanly done and effectively done and beautifully done.
I obviously spent a few years in Formula One and found that the least empathetic drivers were often the fastest.
Well, listen, if you're doing something, let's say you're a fighter pilot and you have to go and shoot someone out the sky. You can't go, I don't want to do it, because sometimes there's an imperative. There's something which is, and we make an imperative out of, motor racing and so forth. So you do need to be ruthless to compete. But you don't need to be a total bastard.
Yeah.
You don't need to be vindictive. You don't need to be take delight in other people's suffering as well. That would not be something that I would admire in a sports person.
Where does Max sit for you in the list of great drivers?
Right up there. No question.
Number 1?
Possibly. In terms of his effectiveness, in terms of his preparedness, his maturity, his speed, he's a phenomenon. And there are very few phenomena drivers. They are the ones that we know of, the Fangios, the Jim Clarks, the Sennas, and the Michael Schumachers.
And we've had the debate for years, Ronaldo v Messi. Where do you lie on Max v Lewis?
Lewis is a different kind of driver. So this is what I'm saying, is that he wants... he's more of a rapier than a battle axe.
Yeah.
In competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And would you put one above the other?
They're different. I think Lewis's natural ability, I don't think even he knows the depths of it. He just somehow has been gifted an extraordinary talent for driving, and also a passion for racing as well. He still wants to race. I think it's more character differences than anything else, I would say.